जल्दी जल्दी घर चल, आज बहुत तेज गर्मी पड़ रही है। हाँ चिंकी, बहुत तेज गर्मी पड़ रही है, लगता है मैं गिर जाऊंगा। थोड़ी देर और बर्दाश्त कर ले बाबू, हम घर तक पहुंचने ही वाले हैं। चिंकी, मैं घर तक नहीं पहुंच पाऊंगा, मुझे लू लग गई है। क्या तुझे लू लग गई चिंकी? बाबू बाबू, क्या हो गया तुझे बाबू? उठना बाबू। पानी 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 पानी, अरे यहाँ कहाँ से पानी लाऊं? जल्दी उठ, घर चलकर पानी पी लेना। पानी पानी। अरे बाबू, क्या हो गया तुझे? आंखें खोलना अपनी बाबू। तुझे कुछ नहीं होगा बाबू, मैं तुझे हॉस्पिटल लेकर जाऊंगी। अरे वो कार वाला, कार को रोको, मेरे बाबू को हॉस्पिटल लेकर जाना है, डॉक्टर के पास। रुको जल्दी।
बोलो लड़की, मेरे कार को किस लिए रुकवाया?
अरे मेरे बाबू को बहुत तेज गर्मी लग गई है और ये बीच रोड पर बेहोश हो गया है। जल्दी इसे अपनी कार में बैठाकर डॉक्टर के पास लेकर चलो।
क्या? अरे नहीं नहीं, अगर तुम्हारा बाबू बीच रास्ते में टै बोल गया तो मुझे जेल जाना पड़ेगा। मैं तुम्हारी मदद नहीं करूंगा, मैं जा रहा हूँ।
अरे रुक जा कार वाले भैया, मेरे बाबू को बचा लो।
नहीं नहीं, मुझे पुलिस पकड़ लेगी, मैं नहीं बचाऊंगा।
चला गया कमीना, अब मेरे बाबू को कौन बचाएगा? यहाँ आसपास तो कोई भी नहीं है। अब मुझे ही बाबू को हॉस्पिटल लेकर जाना पड़ेगा। तुम्हें कुछ नहीं होगा बाबू, मैं तुम्हें डॉक्टर के पास लेकर चल रही हूँ। अरे बाप रे, बाबू तो बहुत भारी है, मैं उसे हॉस्पिटल तक नहीं ले जा पाऊंगी। बाबू तू यहीं रह, मैं चिंटू को भी बुला कर लाती हूँ। चिंटू 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 चिंटू, कहाँ है तू चिंटुआ? अरे कौन चिल्ला रहा है घर के बाहर? मैं यहाँ पूल में नहा रहा हूँ। अरे चिंटुआ, तू यहाँ पूल में नहा रहा है और वहाँ रोड पर बाबू गर्मी से बेहोश हो गया है। क्या? जल्दी चल, बाबू को हॉस्पिटल लेकर जाना है। हाँ जल्दी चल, आज गर्मी भी बहुत ज्यादा पड़ रही है। बाबू चिंकी, कहाँ है बाबू? अरे बाबू तो यही रोड पर बेहोश पड़ा हुआ था, अचानक गायब कहाँ हो गया? अरे चिंकी, ऊपर देख पेड़ पर, वो बंदर बाबू को पेड़ पर लेकर चला गया है। लेकिन वो बंदर बाबू को ऊपर क्यों ले गया? पता नहीं क्यों लेकर चला गया वो बाबू को। तो अब हम बाबू को पेड़ पर से नीचे कैसे उतारे? रुको, मैं केला लेकर आता हूँ। जब वो बंदर केला खाने के लिए नीचे आएगा, तब तुम पेड़ पर चढ़कर बाबू को नीचे उतार लेना, ठीक है? ठीक है, जल्दी जाओ। अबे वो बंदर, मेरे बाबू को कुछ मत करना, नहीं तो हम तुम्हें बहुत मारेंगे। चिंकी देखो, मैं केला लेकर आ गया। अब जल्दी बंदर को केला दिखाओ। बंदर भाई, ये देखो केला। चलो आ जाओ नीचे, अगर केला खाना है तो। चिंकी जल्दी बाबू को पेड़ पर से नीचे उतार। अब अकेले ही इस भारी बाबू को ले जाना पड़ेगा। अरे ये बंदर तो मेरे पीछे ही पड़ गया। ये केला दे देता हूँ उसे, शायद मैं बच जाऊंगा। अरे ये बंदर तो एक ही बार में पूरा केला खा गया। लगता है अब ये बंदर मुझे नहीं काटेगा। बचाओ! अरे हॉस्पिटल में तो डॉक्टर है ही नहीं। डॉक्टर साहब, डॉक्टर साहब, कहाँ हो डॉक्टर साहब? जल्दी आओ।
अरे चिंकी, क्या हो गया? क्यों बुला रही हो मुझे?
अरे डॉक्टर साहब, मेरा बाबू गर्मी से बेहोश हो गया है, जल्दी इसे बचा लो।
क्या? अरे तो जल्दी इसे बेड पर लेटाओ, मैं इंजेक्शन लगा देता हूँ।
ठीक है, रखती हूँ। लाओ दो मुझे ये बड़ा आइसक्रीम। इस बड़े आइसक्रीम को इतनी भयानक गर्मी में खाने में बड़ा मजा आएगा। हाँ ये लो। अरे बाप रे, इतना बड़ा आइसक्रीम, उसे खाने में तो बड़ा मजा आएगा। अब खाओ इसे, ये पूरा आइसक्रीम दूध से बना है। तब तो मैं इसे धीरे धीरे और मजे लेकर खाऊंगा। अरे पकड़ो पकड़ो, वो बिल्ली मेरा बड़ा आइसक्रीम लेकर भागने लगी। बोला था कि जल्दी खा लो, अब खाओ आइसक्रीम मजे लेकर। अब मैं क्या खाऊंगा? अरे रो मत, ये चिंकी वाला आइसक्रीम भी खा ले। अरे हाँ, ये तो मैंने सोचा ही नहीं। ला दो चिंकी मुझे आइसक्रीम। हाँ ये लो। अब जल्दी खा लो इसे, नहीं तो बिल्ली इसे भी लेकर भाग जाएगी। हाँ जल्दी से खा लेता हूँ। अरे ले गया, ये वाला आइसक्रीम भी ले गया चूहा। अब खाओ घुइयां। लेकिन मैं उस बिल्ली और चूहे को छोड़ूंगा नहीं, उन दोनों को मार दूंगा। चल चिंकिया, एक बोरा और गेहूं चुरा कर बेचते हैं और इस बार बड़ा कुल्फी खरीदेंगे। हाँ चलो, गेहूं का बोरा चुराते हैं। मम्मी ये देखो, दूध वाला एक बड़ा आइसक्रीम लेकर आया हूँ। चलो आओ, तुम और मैं मिलकर इस बड़े आइसक्रीम को खाते हैं। नहीं नहीं, तुम ही खाओ आइसक्रीम, मैं जा रही हूँ चूहा पकड़ कर लाने के लिए। आज चूहा बिरयानी बनाऊंगी। अरे वाह मम्मी, चूहा बिरयानी, तब तो आज मजा ही आ जाएगा चूहा बिरयानी खाने में। जल्दी जाओ और मोटे मोटे चूहे पकड़ कर लाओ, तब तक मैं आइसक्रीम को खाता हूँ। लेकिन तुम घर में ही रहना, घर से बाहर मत निकलना। बाहर बड़े बड़े कुत्ते घूम रहे हैं, वो तुम्हें पकड़ लेंगे। ठीक है मम्मी, मैं बाहर नहीं जाऊंगा। अब तुम जल्दी जाओ चूहा पकड़ने। ठीक है, जाती हूँ। घर में ही रहना, बाहर मत निकलना। Oh no! अरे तोरी के, इतना मीठा आइसक्रीम, आहा बड़ा मजा आएगा खाने में इसे। बाप रे, कहाँ नहीं ढूंढा उस बिल्ली और चूहे को। पता नहीं वो दोनों कहाँ भाग गए हैं मेरा आइसक्रीम लेकर। ओह, इतना मलाईदार चीज तो मैं पहली बार खा रहा हूँ। अरे इस लकड़ी के घर में से कुछ आवाजें आ रही हैं। जरा देखूं तो कौन है इसके अंदर। अच्छा, तो तू यहाँ छुपा हुआ है बिल्ली का बच्चा, और यहाँ बड़े मजे से मेरा आइसक्रीम खा रहा है। तो तू यहाँ मेरे घर तक आ गया। अब मैं तुझे छोड़ूंगा नहीं, तुम्हारे घर में ही तुझे बहुत मारूंगा। तू मुझे मारेगा? हाँ, तू ही आइसक्रीम चोर है, तो तुझे ही लतियाऊंगा। तो दरवाजा बंद कर दे। हाँ, दरवाजे बंद करके मारूंगा तुझे। अरे मैंने काट लिया। अरे यहाँ नहीं, अरे यहाँ भी काट लिया। अरे छोड़ दे रे, कितना मारेगा मुझे? मैं यहाँ कभी नहीं आऊंगा बिल्ली। उस बिल्ली के बच्चे ने मुझे काट काट के मेरा कच्छा भी फाड़ दिया। अब मैं बुलडोजर से उस बिल्ली के घर को तोड़ दूंगा। अरे वो तो बाबू है, लेकिन वो तो बहुत ही बुरी हालत में दिख रहा है। चलकर पूछती हूँ। अरे बाबू, तेरा यह हाल किसने किया? एक चोरनी बिल्ली ने मेरा यह हाल किया है। फाड़ दिया है। हाँ मम्मी, बहुत मारा है उसने मुझे गिरा गिरा के मारा और काटा भी। चल जल्दी डॉक्टर के पास, तुझे जल्दी इलाज करवाना होगा। नहीं, सबसे पहले उस बिल्ली के घर को तोड़ूंगा बुलडोजर से। संभल कर जाना स्कूल और झंडा फहरा कर ही आना, और लड्डू भी लेकर आना तुम दोनों मेरे लिए। ठीक है मम्मी, हम तुम्हारे लिए मिठाई लेकर आएंगे। चल चिंकिया, बस 10 मिनट में ही झंडा फहरने वाला है। हाँ जल्दी चलो, आज लड्डू बटेगा स्कूल में। चिंटू, तुम झंडा फहराने के बाद क्या करोगे? मैं तो एक गाना गाऊंगा। 5 दिनों में याद किया है उस गाने को। और तुम क्या करोगी बताओ? मैं तो नाचूंगी और इनाम मुझे ही मिलेगा। हाँ नहीं, इनाम मुझे ही मिलेगा। मम्मी, वो दोनों लड़के हाथ में लेकर क्या जा रहे हैं? आज 15 अगस्त है ना बाबू। वो दोनों हाथ में झंडा लेकर स्कूल में झंडा फहराने के लिए जा रहे हैं। लेकिन वो दोनों झंडा फहराने क्यों जा रहे हैं? क्योंकि झंडा फहराने के बाद उन दोनों को लड्डू मिलेगा खाने को। लड्डू? तो मैं भी जाऊंगा झंडा फहराने स्कूल में, और वहाँ मुझे भी लड्डू खाने को मिलेगा। नहीं, तू इंसान नहीं है, तू तो एक बिल्ली है। तू झंडा फहराने नहीं जाएगा, बाहर तुम्हें कुत्ते काट लेंगे। मैं तो जाऊंगा लड्डू खाने। अरे रुक जा बाबू, कुत्ते तुम्हें काट लेंगे, मत जा वहाँ। मैं नहीं रुकूंगा, मैं जा रहा हूँ झंडा फहरा कर लड्डू खाने। वापस घर आ तू, बांध कर पिटाई करूंगी तुम्हारा। चिंटू, वो देखो एक बिल्ली हमारे पीछे पीछे आ रही है। आने दो, छोड़ो उसे। कहीं वो बिल्ली हमें काट लिया तो? डरो मत, वो बिल्ली नहीं काटेगी हमें। अरे चिंटू और चिंकी हाथ में झंडा लेकर स्कूल जा रहे हैं, स्कूल में झंडा फहराने के लिए। अरे रुको चिंटू और चिंकी। अरे बाबू, तू पेड़ पर चमगादड़ों की तरह उल्टा क्यों लटका है? झंडा फहराने चल हमारे साथ स्कूल में। नहीं, मैं स्कूल नहीं जाऊंगा। स्कूल में मास्टर बहुत मारता है मुझे, मैं नहीं जाऊंगा। अरे बाबू, आज छुट्टी है, स्कूल में पढ़ाई नहीं होगी, खाली झंडा फहराया जाएगा और लड्डू भी मिलेगा स्कूल में। क्या लड्डू मिलेगा? तब तो मैं भी झंडा फहराने जाऊंगा। तुम दोनों यहीं रुको, मैं भी झंडा लेकर आता हूँ। चल चिंटू, बाबू को छोड़, नहीं तो हम समय से स्कूल नहीं पहुँच पाएंगे। हाँ दौड़ कर चलो। अरे वो दोनों तो दौड़ने लगे, मैं भी दौड़ता हूँ। मम्मी, बाहर निकलो मम्मी। क्या हुआ बाबू, क्यों चिल्ला रहा है तू? मम्मी, मुझे भी पैसा दो, मैं भी झंडा खरीद कर स्कूल लेकर जाऊंगा, चिंटू और चिंकी के साथ झंडा फहराने और लड्डू खाने। अब मेरे पास पैसा नहीं है, जाओ जाकर खेलो बाहर। अरे रुको मम्मी, पैसा तो देकर जाओ, मुझे तिरंगा खरीदना है। भागो यहाँ से, पैसा नहीं है। मम्मी तो चली गई, अब कैसे लड्डू खाऊंगा? अगर मैं लड्डू नहीं खाऊंगा तो चिंटू और चिंकी को भी लड्डू नहीं खाने दूंगा। वो रहे वो दोनों, अब उन दोनों को डराता हूँ इस कुत्ते वाले कपड़े पहनकर। अरे चिंटू, आगे देख, एक बड़ा कुत्ता हमें काटने के लिए दौड़ते हुए आ रहा है। नहीं, वो कुत्ता हमें नहीं काटेगा, पीछे उस बिल्ली को खाने के लिए आ रहा होगा वो। अरे बाप रे, एक बड़ा कुत्ता मुझे खाने के लिए आ रहा है। अब क्या करूँ, बहुत डर लग रहा है मुझे। लगता है वो कुत्ता हमें ही काटने के लिए आ रहा है चिंटू। मुझे भी ऐसा ही लग रहा है चिंकिया। भाग चिंकिया। अरे चिंटू, हम वापस घर की ओर ही भाग रहे हैं। स्कूल की ओर भागो, हमें झंडा फहराने जाना है। अरे पीछे वो बड़ा कुत्ता हमें काटने के लिए आ रहा है, घर की ओर ही भागो। अरे वाह, मजा आ गया, वो दोनों तो डर के भाग रहे हैं। नहीं नहीं, मुझे मत काटना कुत्ता भाई, मुझे छोड़ दो। डर गया चिंटुआ, डर गया।
Mira had always believed the ocean could think, breathe, and maybe even dream. Every night after finishing her homework, she wandered barefoot down the quiet slope behind her house where the sand was cool and smooth like velvet. The waves rolled in gentle rhythms, whispering against the shore. But on this particular evening, something felt different, like the air itself was holding its breath. Mira lay on the sand, her fingers tracing little patterns beside her, when she heard a low, strange hum. It wasn't the cry of gulls or the hiss of tides. It sounded alive. She sat up so quickly the sand spilled from her elbows. The hum continued, vibrating against her chest in a soft, pulsing rhythm. It felt like someone knocking gently from beneath the surface of the world. Mira tried to listen more carefully, holding her breath. The sound deepened, stretching into a long vibrating tone that rose and fell like a message repeating itself. She frowned, looking out at the darkening water. Nothing stirred, no boats, no lights, just the sea slowly swallowing the dusk. Yet the hum grew stronger. Mira tried to convince herself that maybe an underwater generator was malfunctioning, or a whale was passing unusually close to the shore. But whales didn't make sounds that felt like electricity buzzing under her skin. She hugged her knees, eyes locked on the water. The hum began to shift in pattern, becoming almost melodic, like a fragile song shaped by someone she had never met. For a moment, the thought crossed her mind, what if the ocean was actually trying to tell her something? She shook her head quickly. That idea felt impossible. Still, she couldn't ignore the sensation crawling up her spine. It was as though the sound came from everywhere and nowhere at once. Her pulse matched its rhythm, syncing with it in a way that unnerved her. Mira slowly rose to her feet, brushing sand off her shorts, and stepped closer to the shoreline. Cold waves washed over her ankles, sending shivers up her legs. The hum grew louder. She leaned forward, staring into the water as if expecting a glowing creature to emerge at any moment. Nothing came out, but something was definitely down there. The last sliver of sunlight slipped beyond the horizon, leaving behind streaks of purple and gold. Shadows deepened across the beach. Mira bit her lip, unsure whether she should run home or stay. Her curiosity held her in place, refusing to let her move. Suddenly the humming cut off, completely. Silence fell so sharply that Mira gasped. The surface of the ocean rippled once, two small concentric circles spreading outward as though something had brushed against it from below. Mira stepped back, heart pounding. She wasn't scared, exactly, just stunned by the feeling that something unseen had taken notice of her. A soft breeze carried the smell of sea salt and wet stone, but Mira barely noticed. She couldn't forget that sound. It wasn't random, it wasn't natural, it was intentional, as if calling her by a name only the deep could pronounce. "Hello," she whispered without knowing why. Her voice sounded tiny against the vast ocean. The waves responded with a gentle hush, but the hum did not return. Mira lingered there until the stars appeared one by one, sparkling like little eyes watching her from above. Eventually she forced herself to leave the beach, though she kept looking back over her shoulder as she climbed the path toward her house. The ocean looked normal again, peaceful, calm, serene, but Mira knew better. Something had changed. Something had reached out to her from the darkness, whispering through frequencies she could feel but not understand. She pressed a hand against her chest, remembering the vibration. It felt like the beginning of a secret she wasn't meant to discover. But that would not leave her alone. And as she walked home under the soft glow of the porch lights, one thought refused to let go of her mind: whatever made that sound was not human. And it wanted her to hear it. The following night, Mira returned to the beach long after her family had gone to bed. She carried her old flashlight, the one with peeling blue paint, and her scratched binoculars that smelled faintly of sea salt. The moon floated low, casting silver trails across the water like soft pathways. Everything looked calm, too calm. Mira stood on the sand, listening, waiting for the strange hum she had heard before. But tonight there was only the quiet push of waves. She sighed, wondering if she had imagined everything, when suddenly a faint glow shimmered beneath the surface far offshore. At first Mira thought it was a reflection of the moon, but the light flickered in ways the moon never did. It danced, it pulsed, it brightened, dimmed, then brightened again, like a heartbeat glowing in rhythm. Mira raised her binoculars and steadied her hands, squinting at the water. What she saw made her breath catch. A glowing oval shape, larger than any creature she knew, drifted slowly through the depths. Its color was electric blue, unnatural, sharp, almost metallic. It wasn't drifting like a jellyfish. It was moving with purpose, following a path. Mira lowered the binoculars, blinking in disbelief. She knew the ocean well. She had spent years reading books about its creatures and memorizing the names of strange species that lived in the dark trenches. But nothing matched what she was seeing now. She tried again with the binoculars, focusing harder. The glowing shape elongated then curved, almost like it was turning to look up at the surface. Mira's heart skipped. For a moment she felt sure that whatever it was had noticed her standing there, watching. The glow brightened, forming a sharp oval outline as if signaling her. She whispered, "What are you?" Though she knew the ocean could not answer. The glowing form shifted again, but this time it moved faster, much faster. It zipped to the left, leaving a streak of light behind it, then dove deeper until it disappeared into the darkness. The ocean went black again. Mira stumbled back a step, stunned. No animal she had ever heard of could move like that with such perfect precision. Not even dolphins or giant squids could create light that sharp. Something about the shape stayed in her mind, smooth, symmetrical, almost engineered. The waves continued crashing softly against the shore, but Mira no longer heard them. Her thoughts spun wildly. Was it some kind of underwater drone? A secret submarine test? A new species humans had never discovered? None of those explanations felt right. The glow had been too deliberate, the movement too intelligent. She rubbed her arms, feeling goosebumps rise along her skin even though the night was warm. The ocean suddenly seemed deeper than before, filled with shadows she wasn't sure she wanted to think about. Yet she also felt strangely thrilled, as if she had witnessed something forbidden. Mira scanned the water again, but the glow didn't return. Her flashlight beam cut across the surface, trembling slightly in her hand. She waited, hoping for even the smallest flicker of blue. Minutes stretched like hours. The ocean remained silent. The curiosity burning inside her grew hotter with each passing moment. She lowered her flashlight and stared into the far distance, wondering how deep the glowing shape had gone. She imagined herself diving down into those depths. Cold pressure, total darkness, echoes of unknown creatures brushing past her. Mira shivered, though part of her wished she could follow it. As she turned to leave, a sudden narrow line of light flashed underwater, just a quick streak, gone almost immediately. Mira spun around, heart hammering. The light had come from close to the shore this time. She crouched, eyes scanning the dark waves. Nothing moved, but she knew what she saw. The glowing being, whatever it was, had come back for a second, almost like checking on her. The realization sent a strange flutter through her chest. Was it curious too? Was it watching? She wasn't sure if she should feel excited or afraid. The night breeze tugged gently at Mira's hair as she stood frozen, torn between staying and running home. But her curiosity was stronger than her fear. She took a few steps closer to the water, letting the cool waves reach her toes. The ocean looked calm again, but she sensed something alive beneath it. Something intelligent, something that didn't belong here, yet was here anyway, hidden deep in the dark. Mira whispered again, hardly louder than the tides, "Come back," but the water answered only with its usual hush. After several long minutes, Mira finally turned and walked away from the shoreline, though she kept glancing over her shoulder as if expecting the blue glow to rise again. The path home felt longer than usual, the night strangely quiet. She couldn't shake the feeling that the glowing creature had deliberately shown itself to her. Not to the town, to her. She hugged her flashlight close, her thoughts racing with possibilities she could barely understand. Whatever she had witnessed tonight wasn't natural. It wasn't random, and it was only the beginning of something far bigger than she realized. Mira burst through the front door, breathing hard as though she had run miles instead of a few hundred meters. Her father looked up from his cluttered desk, surrounded by maps, sonar graphs, tangled wires, and half-finished notes. He pushed up his glasses, startled by the urgency on her face. "Dad, you have to listen," she blurted. She tried to slow her breathing as she explained the glowing oval she had seen beneath the waves, its strange movement, its impossible brightness. Her father didn't interrupt, but his expression shifted from disbelief to concern, then to something Mira had never seen before. He rose slowly, walked to a locked cabinet, and pulled out a ring of keys. Mira watched him unlock the metal drawer at the bottom, one she had never seen open. Inside were waterproof folders marked with red labels, photographs hidden in sealed bags, and a map rolled tightly around a black strap. He unbuckled it and spread the map across his desk. Words printed in bold uppercase letters stretched across the top: Restricted Deep Zone 47, Classified Marine Anomalies. Myra's heartbeat quickened. "What is that?" she whispered, drawn to the dark circle marked deep in the ocean trench. Her father sat down heavily in his chair. "Signals," he said finally. "Patterns we can't explain. Shapes on sonar we can't match to any known species. Light flashes no machine could produce. And it all started months ago, in the exact region where you saw your glow." He tapped the outlined area with a shaky finger. Mira leaned closer and noticed several small crosses marked around the dark circle. "Those are detection points," he explained. "Something is moving down there, something huge, and it isn't behaving like anything we've studied. Humans can't reach that depth easily. Not even our drones." Mira stared at the map, feeling her breath catch. "Why didn't you tell me?" she asked quietly. Her father rubbed the bridge of his nose. "Because we haven't confirmed anything. And because people panic when the unknown lurks near them." He glanced at her, then added in a lower voice, "and because some scientists think these signals aren't natural." Mira felt goosebumps rise along her arms. "Artificial?" she asked. He hesitated before nodding. "Possibly. Intelligent, even. But there's no proof." Mira looked back at the map. She knew what she had seen last night didn't need proof. It was real. Her father pulled out a photograph taken during a night survey. It showed the ocean surface streaked with a thin, glowing arc, almost identical to what Mira had witnessed. "This light lasted only 2 seconds, he said softly. "Our equipment recorded a frequency spike right before it appeared, one we still don't understand. Some think it was a signal. Some think it was a warning." Mira swallowed hard. "I think it was trying to communicate," she whispered. Her father eyed her sharply. "Communicate, Mira? These things, if they exist, could be dangerous." Mira shook her head. It didn't feel dangerous. It felt aware. Her father leaned back in his chair, thinking deeply. "Aware is not the same as safe," he muttered. He was about to speak again when a sudden low vibration drifted through the walls of the house. Mira froze. The same hum from the night before, soft but unmistakable. Her father stiffened, his eyes widening. "Did you hear that?" she whispered. He nodded slowly. The sound lasted only a few seconds, then faded. Her father jumped to his feet and ran to the window, scanning the dark stretch of sea beyond the hill. "That came from underwater," he murmured, voice tight with shock. They hurried outside together, following the path Mira had taken earlier. The closer they got to the beach, the more Mira felt the vibration settle into her bones. It wasn't loud, it was something deeper, something alive beneath the shore. When they reached the sand, her father raised his instrument, a portable hydrophone, and pointed it toward the waves. The device lit up with sharp green lines that pulsed in the same rhythm as the hum. "This is impossible," he whispered. "The readings are too clean. Too intentional." Mira gazed out at the water, feeling strangely calm despite the fear twisting inside her. The waves glowed faintly with a soft bluish tint, as though responding to the hum from below. Mira watched her father struggle to make sense of the data flashing on his monitor. "It's repeating," he said. "The signal is repeating in perfect sequence, like language." Mira's breath hitched. "Do you think they're trying to say something?" Her father didn't answer. He looked terrified, confused, and fascinated all at once. The hum faded again, leaving only the sound of the ocean. But Mira felt certain of one thing: the glowing creature had returned. And it wanted to be noticed. They stood there on the sand, father and daughter, lit by moonlight and the last traces of fading blue. Mira didn't know whether the ocean was warning them or welcoming them. All she knew was that her world had shifted. The ocean wasn't just water and waves anymore, it was a doorway. And something on the other side was calling to her. The alarm shattered the silence of the night, blaring through the small coastal town like a siren from another world. Mira snapped awake, heart pounding wildly as red emergency lights flashed through her bedroom window. She rushed outside, joining neighbors who were emerging from their homes in confusion. Boats rocked violently in the harbor, their ropes straining as the water heaved with unusual force. Even the air felt charged, humming with a strange static energy. Dogs barked uncontrollably, and birds scattered from the cliffs in panicked swarms. Something was happening beneath the waves, something powerful, urgent, and alive. Mira's father stumbled out of the house behind her, clutching his handheld monitor. The screen flickered in wild patterns, full of jagged spikes and unreadable symbols. "This isn't a storm," he muttered. "This is something else entirely." Mira didn't need telling. She felt the vibrations under her feet, pulsing through the earth like deep, drumming heartbeats. The humming sound returned, no longer soft or distant. It thundered like a song rising from the ground, vibrating through their bones. People covered their ears, but Mira didn't move. She recognized the humming. It was the same voice from the ocean. The waves suddenly froze mid-motion, suspended for a fraction of a second, as if something enormous held them still. Then a thin beam of pale silver shot straight out of the sea, piercing the sky with breathtaking precision. It wasn't bright enough to blind, but it was sharp, clear as a needle of moonlight. Gasps and screams erupted across the beach as people stumbled back in terror. Mira stood rooted where she was, mesmerized. The beam didn't flicker. It stayed steady, straight, and impossibly tall, stretching into the low clouds above like a signal calling far away. Her father pointed his monitor at the beam, his hands shaking violently. "Energy levels exceeding anything we've ever recorded," he whispered. "This is communication, transmission. Something is sending a message." The silver beam shifted slightly, widening at its base as the water around it glowed an eerie blue, rippling outward in smooth, perfect circles. Mira felt her heartbeat syncing with the pulse of the light, a strange harmony forming between her and whatever was beneath the sea. The ground vibrated again, but this time the sensation wasn't frightening. It felt purposeful, like an invitation or a warning. A fisherman near the dock shouted, pointing to the clouds. Mira looked up and saw the beam splitting the sky, carving thin lines of shimmering light across the drifting mist. It was as though the ocean itself reached upward, trying to speak to something far beyond Earth. The humming deepened, echoing across the cliffs and bouncing off the houses in long, vibrating waves. Mira pressed a hand to her chest, overwhelmed by the familiarity of the rhythm. She didn't understand the message, but she felt it in her bones. It was searching for someone. It was reaching out. Her father grabbed her arm. "Mira, we need to get back. This could be dangerous." But she barely heard him. Her eyes stayed fixed on the slender column of light rising from the water like a shimmering spine. The beam flickered once, twice, and then burst outward into a wide dome of silver illumination. The entire beach was bathed in soft radiance, so gentle and strangely warm that people stopped screaming and simply stared. The light didn't burn or harm, it soothed, like moonlight touching the skin. Mira stepped forward without realizing she was moving, drawn like a moth to flame. For a moment, every sound vanished. The wind stopped, the surf quieted, even the humming faded until there was only silence, and the soft glow of the dome expanding across the shoreline. Mira could hear her own breathing, slow and shallow. Then, just as suddenly as it had appeared, the dome collapsed inward. The beam snapped off like a switch being flipped. Darkness crashed back over the beach, leaving only the distant roar of returning waves. People screamed again, stumbling away from the water, calling for their children and loved ones. Mira's father pulled her close, trembling with shock. But Mira didn't tremble. Her pulse raced, but not from fear. Something inside her felt changed, awakened by the light. She looked at the ocean, its surface now calm and eerily normal. The glowing beam was gone, as though it had never existed. But across the sand, faint patterns shimmered, spirals, loops, and repeating wave-like figures. They glowed faintly, fading in and out like ink made of starlight. Mira stepped closer despite her father's protests, recognizing the central shape almost instantly, the oval glow. The same one she had seen underwater. The same one that had watched her. She knelt, tracing the glowing pattern with her fingertips. The sand felt warm, almost pulsing. Her father crouched beside her, breathing shallowly. "Mira, these are coordinates," he whispered after studying the repeating markings. "Depth patterns, directional markers, this is a message." A map. Mira swallowed hard. The glowing oval in the center looked like an eye, or a doorway. She didn't know how she knew, but she felt certain, the beam had been a call. Not to everyone, not to the whole town, but to her. The ocean had reached out again. And this time, it had left instructions.